There are some big changes to the Cyprus visa, residency and citizenship options, and if you want to move to Cyprus, definitely make sure to watch this video until the very end so that you don't end up losing a lot of money. Hey everybody, it's Rikugo, and in this video I'm going to talk about the Cyprus visa, residency and citizenship fundamentals and some very important tips. Let's start with the visa options, and there are actually a lot of different options. However, we will focus on the most popular and common ones. The first visa type is the visitor's visa, and this is actually the most common one. This gives you the ability to enter Cyprus for a period of 90 days. This visa is, as the name says, only for visiting purposes. You cannot immigrate, you cannot work here, you can only be a tourist here basically. Luckily, this is also one of the easiest visa options. As a European, you don't even have to do a lot of paperwork, and for non-Europeans, this is actually something that goes through very often. Then we have something relatively new that I like a lot, and that is the Cyprus Digital Nomad Visa. This scheme allows foreigners to live in Cyprus, to reside here temporarily for a period of about 1 year if you're working for a foreign company or foreign clients. The idea and the goal of this visa is actually very interesting because Cyprus realizes that there is a lot of potential in digital nomads, online businesses, and they want to strengthen Cyprus to become a new hub or like a hotspot for digital startups, for tech businesses and so forth. I personally think this is a very clever strategy to attract a lot of talent to Cyprus. The digital nomad visa is available for people who work completely remotely, who are employed by a company abroad, or who are self-employed with a client abroad, and who have a stable income that is at least 3,500 euros every month, after taxes and all other contributions. And now the work visa, and because this visa type is actually pretty complex, we have to clarify some things first. Number one, it's actually important to understand that Cyprus prioritizes their local citizens, and they only grant you an employment or work visa if there is no local staff available, because they want to have a safe job for all of their local citizens. There are certain work visa types that are easier to obtain. For example, if you have a highly demanded skill, and if you're a highly skilled person, then you have higher chances because there are not a lot of people in Cyprus doing that specific profession. And also, if you're working for a company abroad, remember the digital nomad visa because there is no real competition with local businesses or local citizens. Number two, for Europeans with a yellow slip, which is the temporary residency here in Cyprus, it's actually a little bit easier to obtain a job in Cyprus. However, they still prioritize the locals, generally. Of course, not everywhere. There are certain business types that actually prefer foreigners. So it's important to understand that I'm talking about general stuff here, and also it's important that you do a research for your perfect job if you want to work somewhere here in Cyprus or online. And number three is you become self-employed and you incorporate your own company, and then you actually create jobs for people here in Cyprus. You can come up with a business idea, or maybe you already have one, and maybe you even have a business already, and in that case you can incorporate a Cyprus limited company here for very little money. I have a separate video talking about that, and then you can employ people here and you can employ yourself. And by the way, there are much more options and many more requirements, but I cannot talk about everything in this one video because it would be way too long, so you can also subscribe to the channel and watch my other videos. When I talk to people that want to move to Cyprus, I actually always recommend to become self-employed because the local salary here in Cyprus, it's really not the best. Now, specifically for non-Europeans, there are also a few immigration options that are listed by the Immigration Department of Cyprus. There is category A. For people that intend to work in the agriculture business in Cyprus, they need to have land, and also they need to have a capital of 430,000 euros. Then there is category B. For people that intend to work in the mining business, they need to have a capital of 350,000 euros. Category C is for people in the trading business, capital of 260,000 euros is required. And then category D is very interesting because this is for the highly skilled people, and this is for people in the science field, and they need to have an academic or professional qualification from another country for which there is high demand in Cyprus. And category E is for people that have been offered a permanent employment in the Republic, which is not under local competition with local citizens. Category F also exists, but we will talk about that in a minute. And by the way, to all of the visas that we just discussed, there is also the possibility of an extension if you're communicating with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in Cyprus. All of the regulations can and will change somewhere in the future, so I definitely recommend you to check out the video description so that you can get an individual consultation for your specific case. And now we will talk about residencies. Residencies are basically extended permits to stay in the country Cyprus longer than the visa allows for, let's say, X amount of days, and we differentiate between temporary residencies and permanent residencies. Let's start with the temporary residency, and here, as I already discussed a little bit, we have the yellow slip for the European people and the pink slip for non-European people. For Europeans, it's actually super easy. You just fill out the form and then you will receive your yellow slip, which is also called the MEU1, and then you can basically live here in Cyprus and do whatever you want. For non-Europeans, it's unfortunately a little bit harder to get, but not impossible. You need to do some extra steps, such as you need to have financial proof, you need to have a health insurance, and you also need to have a clean criminal record, and actually many other things, but it's best to discuss this in a personal consultation call. The yellow slip is valid for 5 years and the pink slip is valid for 1 year, but both can be renewed. And also with the yellow slip you don't have big obligations, but with the pink slip you actually need to move to Cyprus, and if you leave Cyprus for a longer period of time, let's say like more than 3 months, the pink slip can actually even be cancelled. But if you actually stay in the country here long term and you stay here for multiple years, then you actually have the option, the availability to upgrade your temporary residency to a permanent residency. And this actually leads us to the next point, and that is the permanent residency by investment. There are two kinds of PR programs here in Cyprus, and they are by far one of the best options to enter Cyprus and the European Union for non-Europeans. You don't even really have to worry about where you're coming from, what you're doing, and how long you want to stay in Cyprus. So, and the first one is very interesting because we talked about it earlier, and that is Category F. Most people don't talk about Category F because they want to sell you a property, but with Category F you don't have to invest 300,000 euros into the property market in Cyprus, and you are still eligible for the permanent residency. It takes much longer than the other option that we will discuss in a minute, but you don't have to invest a lot of money, which a lot of people don't even have. The average processing time of Category F is about 12 months. I've seen cases where it's multiple years, and I've seen cases where it's even less than a year. So again, it's important to get an individual consultation. The second PR option is the fast track program, and this has the benefit, as the name suggests, that it's much faster than Category F. It's also like the safe way because this is absolutely certain, whereas Category F in some cases is actually even denied. The average processing time with the fast track program is about 2 months, and it requires you to invest 300,000 euros into a Cyprus property or into a Cyprus company. Yes, there are some other little requirements on top of the investment, but I don't want to discuss this in this video here because they regularly change it, and I want this video to be as general as possible. But one thing that is definitely very interesting and that I want to discuss is that if you do the PR program, actually the same PR benefits apply to your family, like your spouse and your kids. So if you buy one property, your whole family is covered with a permanent residency here in Cyprus. You can start both PR processes remotely, and you need to fill out some application forms, and you also need to have the following documents ready: passports, birth certificates, financial proof, clean criminal record, health insurance, rental agreement or title deeds if you buy a property, and also potentially a marriage or college certificates for the kids. Then it's time for due diligence, KYC, AML and whatever there is, and then you either get approved or denied. And believe me, in most cases it's approved. Also, it's very important to know that you need to work with a lawyer for all of that, and you pay all of the fees, and then voila, you come to Cyprus, you arrive here in the beautiful Mediterranean island, and you're ready for your new life. For more information about the PR program, I recommend you to watch this video where I talk about the permanent residency by investment in very detail. At the moment, Cyprus is not yet a part of the Schengen area, however they are planning to change that, so if you subscribe to the channel, you will get all further updates about Cyprus. Now, citizenships and passports. Actually, there used to be a citizenship by investment program here in Cyprus a few years back. but there were some scandals and so they stopped it. However, there are still a few options left to get the Cyprus citizenship, and they are the following. Number 1, citizenship by birth, if you're born in Cyprus. Number 2, citizenship by descent, if your parents or grandparents are born in Cyprus. Number 3, citizenship by marriage, if you're marrying a Cypriot. And number 4, very interesting because this applies to everyone with the PR program, and that is citizenship by neutralization. If you live in Cyprus with a permanent residency for multiple years, then you can actually apply for the citizenship under some additional requirements, and then you get the Cyprus passport in a few years from now. And if you want to start the process of any visa, residency or citizenship option, definitely make sure to contact me via the video description, and I will make sure that you get the best service providers here on the island, and I will see you in the next video.